Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. In the last video I was getting those drawer fronts, which will also be the front rails, and those boards are here, it's set up ready to go. But now I need the rest of those parts, those extra sides and the backs. I'll need 4 sides and 2 backs, and I got plenty of material here to grab that from, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that, and then we'll move on. We'll move on to joinery. Okay, just a little bit of a dry fit reality check for me here. I'm just super happy with Square. That tells me that all my cuts were good. So even just in a dry clamp, man, it's just dead on. So I'm super happy with that. I did the drawer fronts. Where are they? Here they are. And I'm not sure if these will show up or not. But the wife came out and picked those out, and the cathedrals actually kind of come together in the middle, so they'll be on opposite sides, and so there'll be some continuation from one stand to the next. So I'm kind of excited about that. While I've got it marked up or set up here, clamped up, I'm going to go ahead and mark for the location of the dominoes. The back and the 2 sides will all be dominoes because it's quick, it's easy. So that's what I'm going to go with. On the front, that top rail, I'm going to do a little sliding dovetail. Give me a little extra support this way. And the bottom rail, I'll do a mortise and tenon. And then of course the drawer front will come out of the middle of that. So those parts are all within the drawer front. So I just have to cut those down. So I'm going to mark for the dominoes next, and maybe we can get this thing dry fit. Okay, I had some extra stock milled up that's the same thickness as what I'm using so that I could test run for the domino. I'm happy with where the dominoes are fitting for all of the back and the 2 sides, and they're all marked out on those 2 tables. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all those, and then I'll put another test piece, my spare leg, in, because I want that little bit of reveal. So I'll change my depth and dial it in on my spare piece. Okay, now with all of those apron dominoes cut, all I'm going to do is loosen the domino, lower my depth to give me that reveal I want, and do a test fit. That gives me right around that 1/8 of an inch that I'm looking for. Okay, all the dominoes are cut, my reveals look good, and the dry fit looks good. Okay, so I took a piece of that extra stock that I had milled up, and I cut it exactly the same length as the back. And I actually marked my center line. Because I want to keep that 1/8 of an inch reveal, I needed to know where to put this sliding dovetail. So this will allow me to set up the router table with the bits and have center lines to work from and keep my reveals all the way around. Okay, so those top and bottom rails are each going to be 3/4. The bottom one I'll do a traditional mortise and tenon. The top one is going to do that little sliding dovetail in there. So my drawer fronts are cut quite a bit oversized, so no issues there. But I want to make sure that I keep the parts together so that the grain flows throughout the front. So I'm just going to mark a big triangle on here, and I'll call that one 1. Same thing over here. I'll call that one 2. And then I can go ahead and cut the 3/4 inch pieces. Okay, so I'm on my test leg again, so if I make a mistake here, it just doesn't matter. I've got a dovetail bit in. I've set up a stop block because I only want to go a 1/2 inch deep. So, and I've set my height at 3/8. So we're going to go ahead and cut this and take a look. Okay, so because those rails are off center, I could only do the front right side with that setup. Now I got to slide the fence forward to get my mark to do the left sides. And we'll give that a test cut. Okay, so I tossed together this little jig to make this little tiny piece safer to come through the bit. So this gives me a lot of back support, gives me good handles. I think it's just a safer operation this way. So let's give it a test run. Okay, well it took a couple of sample pieces to get that dovetail to fit just right, but I think I've got it dialed in now. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the actual table parts now. Okay, so I've gone back to my test piece and marked out what I needed to notch in that dovetail. And I've set a stop block so I catch my shoulder hopefully pretty decent, but if not, I'll clean it up with a chisel, and that's okay. And that's why we do it on test pieces. So I'm just going to nibble this away until we're ready to test fit. Okay, my test fit said that I needed to raise my blade just a little bit. We were still a little bit proud, but that's okay. We're just going to sneak up on it. And that's a fit I can live with. Okay, I've set up my drill press, I've set the fence and a stop block, so I'll have repeatability. I can do this on all the legs exactly the same way. So, let's give us a test. Okay, now we'll just clean up and square off corners and clean up that mortise. Okay, so I've left my stop and my sled set up exactly where it was for the sliding dovetail. I've lowered my blade to a 1/16 of an inch, and all I'm going to do is nibble away all four sides of this, and we'll see how we did for a fit. And that's a good fit. Okay, so there's the dry fit. Everything just really came out nice. Everything is super nice and square. Overall, I'm really happy with how it's come out. Next up, we got to taper the legs, and the tapers go on the sides where you have joinery. So they'll go here on the insides, and they'll go on this back side. So let me break these down, get them pulled apart, and set up my tapering jig, and I'll show you what we're doing. Okay, I know it's hard to see at this camera angle, but I've tried to dummy proof my parts as much as I could to prevent this dummy from making a mistake. I've actually drawn all my tapers on all the legs. And I'm going to do one leg from this table, and I'm going to do the exact same leg from the next table so that the cuts are consistent from table to table. All right, well there we got it all dry fit with the tapers, and it's looking good. I think that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. When we get going on the next one, I'm going to take a smoother plane to the tapers that we just did. We'll start getting the drawer done. Well, obviously we have the top to do, and come up with some sort of a drawer pull. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet, but we'll get there. So until next time, guys, take care.